If you walked through airport security today, carrying the same items you have been traveling with for years, there is a genuinely alarming possibility that you would not make it through without having your bag pulled, your belongings confiscated, and your flight time eaten up by additional screening that nobody warned you was coming. And here at Airport Wisdom, we say that not to create fear, but to create preparation. Because the senior travelers in our community who have been caught off guard by the wave of rule, changes that took effect in 2026, have paid for that surprise in confiscated items worth hundreds of dollars, unexpected gate fees that exceeded the cost of the original ticket, and the specific humiliation of standing at a security checkpoint, having everyday items removed from a bag they packed carefully and confidently. So today, we are walking through every major change you need to know about before your next trip, starting with the one that has caused more immediate disruption at security checkpoints than anything else on this list: power banks. The portable battery chargers that millions of travelers carry as standard equipment, and that senior travelers in particular rely on to keep phones, hearing aids, and medical monitoring devices charged throughout long travel days, became the subject of sweeping new restrictions following a serious January 2026 incident in which a power bank ignited during the boarding process of a commercial flight, filling the cabin with smoke within seconds and triggering an emergency evacuation before the aircraft had even left the gate. Airlines worldwide responded with policy changes that were implemented with extraordinary speed and that most passengers had no advance notice of. Any power bank exceeding 160 watt-hours, which corresponds to approximately 32,000 milliamp hours on the label, is now completely prohibited on all commercial flights without any exceptions, while power banks in the range between 100 and 160 watt-hours require explicit advance approval from the airline and are limited to 2 per passenger. But the detail that is catching travelers most off guard is not the watt-hour limit itself. It is the absolute prohibition on carrying any power bank in checked luggage regardless of its size, because a battery that overheats in the cargo hold where no crew member can respond creates a catastrophic fire risk with no containment option, meaning that your power bank must travel in your carry-on or personal item on every flight, and checking it even inadvertently will result in your bag being pulled from the belt and opened. Before your next trip, locate the watt-hour rating printed on your power bank. Confirm it falls below 100 watt-hours for unrestricted travel or below 160 watt-hours with airline approval arranged in advance, and move it permanently into your carry-on packing system. The second change has blindsided travelers who invested significantly in premium smart luggage as a travel upgrade. In 2026, airlines are rejecting any smart suitcase whose battery cannot be physically removed from the bag in a matter of seconds. And the financial consequences of discovering this at the check-in counter, rather than at home, are severe. You either leave your bag behind or miss your flight, with no middle ground and no airline compensation for the loss. The same fire safety logic that drives power bank restrictions applies here. A battery embedded within a suitcase structure creates a containment problem in an emergency that no crew member can address effectively, and the policy is enforced without flexibility, regardless of the brand's reputation or the bag's price point. If you own a smart suitcase, open the battery compartment right now and confirm that the battery slides out cleanly and completely without tools. If it does not, that bag cannot fly with you in 2026, and replacing it before your next departure is not an optional upgrade, but a travel necessity. The liquid restriction situation deserves a specific and honest clarification, because the amount of conflicting information circulating about the so-called end of the 311 rule has caused real financial harm to travelers who acted on that information prematurely. Here is the current reality. Some airports in the United Kingdom began testing advanced scanning technology that would have allowed full-sized liquid containers through security without the 100 milliliter limit, generating significant media coverage about the imminent end of travel-sized toiletries. But by mid-2024, 6 major UK airports, including London City, had reversed course and reinstated the original restrictions after the new technology produced security concerns that the testing phase had not resolved, and the European Union's parallel plans for similar scanner upgrades were abandoned when testing failed to meet required standards. The result is a genuinely confusing patchwork, where different airports operate under different stated policies. Airline staff sometimes provide outdated information about what is permitted, and travelers who packed full-size products based on what they were told have had hundreds of dollars worth of skincare, medication, and personal care products confiscated at the checkpoint. The airport wisdom guidance for our community is unambiguous. Pack all liquids in containers of 100 milliliters or less in a clear resealable bag for every flight, regardless of what you have read, been told, or experienced recently. Because this remains the single approach that works consistently across every airport and every airline, and the cost of the alternative is losing items you cannot get back. The fourth change is one that European travelers and anyone connecting through European hub airports needs to understand specifically. Budget carriers across Europe have quietly reduced their free carry-on size allowances in 2026, shrinking permitted dimensions by as much as 30% from previous standards. And the enforcement mechanism is the gate-side bag sizer that your luggage must physically fit into before you are permitted to board. The bag that flew with you on the same carrier 2 years ago, the one that always fit, may no longer comply with the current dimensions, and discovering that at the gate means paying a last-minute fee that can reach €60 per item, a fee that is deliberately priced to be punishing because it is designed to generate revenue from passengers who did not check the current rules before arriving. A 73% increase in unexpected baggage fee complaints compared to the prior year has been documented across travel forums and consumer complaint platforms, with families of 4 reporting gate fees that exceeded their original ticket costs. The solution is a 60-second habit. Every time you book a flight, open the airline's current baggage policy page directly, not a third-party travel site, not last year's email confirmation, but the live policy page. Screenshot the current dimensions and fees, and save that screenshot to your phone, so that if any gate agent applies a standard that differs from what is published, you have documentation of the official policy in your hand. Air Canada implemented changes in early 2026 that represent the most aggressive restructuring of basic economy ticket terms among North American carriers, and they serve as a preview of the direction the entire industry appears to be heading. Basic economy passengers now receive only a single small personal item at no charge, with the standard rolling carry-on that was previously included costing $35 for the first bag and $65 for each additional piece. And separately, free seat selection at online check-in was eliminated for basic economy ticket holders, with seats now randomly assigned unless the passenger pays an additional selection fee. The practical consequence for senior travelers who have been booking basic economy fares to access lower base prices is that the true cost of a basic economy ticket in 2026 frequently exceeds the cost of a standard economy ticket once the mandatory bag and seat fees are added, which means the booking decision that appears to save $30 or $50 at the checkout screen often costs $70 or more before you reach the gate. The airport wisdom calculation our community applies before every booking. Add the cost of one checked bag and one seat selection to any basic economy fare you are considering and compare that total to the standard economy fare. Because in the majority of cases, the standard fare is either equal or cheaper when all required fees are included. And the standard fare comes with the flexibility and benefits that the basic fare has systematically stripped away. There are specific everyday items that are now triggering security alerts with a consistency and frequency that our airport wisdom community has documented through first-hand accounts, and every senior traveler who carries any of these items needs to know about the current enforcement environment before their next trip. Powdered substances exceeding approximately 350 milliliters in total volume, a threshold that covers not just the obvious cases but also protein powder, powdered nutritional supplements, baby powder, and even baking ingredients carried in personal bags, now face intensive manual review at security checkpoints. Because current screening technology cannot reliably distinguish between benign and hazardous powders at that volume, meaning that carrying a large container of any powdered substance essentially guarantees additional screening time, regardless of how innocent the contents are. Camping and hiking equipment presents a separate and genuinely surprising confiscation risk: tent poles and tent stakes. Even the lightweight aluminum variety used in compact backpacking equipment are now routinely removed from bags as potential weapons, and travelers who have carried this equipment for years without incident are discovering in 2026 that the enforcement standard has shifted. Toy weapons and weapon-shaped items, plastic lightsabers, foam swords, toy guns of any material, and action figures carrying miniature weapon accessories are being confiscated from families at a rate that reflects a zero-ambiguity policy. If the item resembles a weapon in any meaningful way under visual inspection, it will not pass through the checkpoint regardless of material, size, or obvious intent. And sporting equipment, including baseball bats, golf clubs, and hockey sticks, must be checked without exception regardless of how the equipment is packaged or what material it is made from. The single most effective habit our airport wisdom community has adopted in response to this constantly shifting regulatory environment is what we call the pre-flight compliance system, and it requires approximately 5 minutes of preparation before every trip. The process is this. Open your airline's current official baggage policy page. Screenshot the current size limits, weight limits, fee schedule, and any specific prohibited items relevant to what you are carrying. Save those screenshots in a dedicated folder on your phone. And separately save the airline's customer service contact number, so that if a gate agent applies a standard that does not match the published policy, you can initiate a direct resolution conversation with documentary evidence, rather than relying on memory or argument. Print those screenshots if you want a physical backup that functions regardless of battery level or signal strength. One member of our airport wisdom community avoided a $150 gate fee when an agent incorrectly claimed her bag exceeded the size limit. She produced the current policy screenshot. The agent verified it, and she boarded without paying. The difference between that outcome and an unnecessary fee paid under time pressure at the gate is 5 minutes of preparation at home. And that is exactly the kind of practical, specific, immediately actionable knowledge that this community exists to share. Tell us in the comments which of these changes surprised you most, or share a situation where a rule change caught you off guard at an airport, because those first-hand accounts help every other member of our community prepare for what they might encounter, and we read every single comment personally. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because Airport Wisdom publishes new insider travel guidance designed specifically for senior passengers every single week, and we will see you in the next video with more of what the airlines and airports are hoping you never find out before you arrive.